Need to trim it up. Woke up extremely early this morning. Also went to bed extremely early last night. Not feeling well. So I've been up since 3:30. Got church in a little bit, and then we're going to go south to visit family down in Paintsville. Maybe I'll look around for some cane sugar sodas. I can't get up here. We'll see. Also, starting to watch The Beekeeper. Got me thinking about non-weapon proficiencies, which I'm not a huge fan of. But before your guy was an adventurer, they were peasants or whatever. They had other things they were training. With a class-based system, that is your trade. You've been training your whole life to be an adventurer, whether that's a warrior, thief, or wizard. Dragonslayer puts these 1 in 6 and 2 in 6 abilities in for the demi-humans, which is very old school. I was playing around with a D6 system for skills. I didn't want to go too depth into it because I didn't want to do a skill-based system. I played a class-based system. So, but to flesh it out, 2 in 6 and 1 in 6. I mean, that's always been our go-back, right? It's been our fallback. Just drop a D6. Don't even necessarily have to tell them what the roll is, right? Stat rolls, I think, are a little bit too tilted to the player, whereas the old 1 or 2 and 6 is like, and they are competent adventurers. They are competent in what they do. So a lot of stuff, like the basic stuff, we don't even make a roll for. It is the extraordinary stuff that you're making rolls for. Like the 2 and 6 the dwarves got for identifying gems. They could tell if a gem is valuable or not just by glancing at it. You're like, oh, it's glass. So if it's a glass gem or a cheap fake, they should be able to recognize it without dropping a D6. They dropped the 2 and 6 to know the true value of it. And I do like the appraisal ability they gave the rogues. Although I would spread that out. Even if you don't do anything with your non-weapon or your secondary profession. I was a bookbinder before I became an adventurer. Then when it comes to things like books, give that player a 2 and 6 chance to appraise. Like with the monks, I don't see why not giving them a 2 and 6. We're getting ready to go into Highfell, so there's going to be lots of valuable books in there. I got no problem giving the monk or a wizard a 2 and 6 chance to give appraisal on the books. And depending upon what the ethos of the character's deity is. If you are a cleric of commerce, then appraisal and analyzing trade routes should be part of your dogma. If you are a cleric of magic and stuff, then all the extra magic stuff, magic items, maybe they give them a bonus into research on magical items. Nothing major. We bring out that old D6 and we drop it. The most basic die. I think it's a good fallback. Now, I've seen systems that do nothing but a D6. I'm not a fan of the complete D6 systems. I mean, you can make something too basic to where it's just, let's just be flipping coins. I played another game, and it came down to 50-50 probabilities, and I did not like that. I was like, man, we'll just be flipping coins all day. And I like things getting progressively harder or situationally harder. So far, I've been digging Dragonslayer a lot. It doesn't have a real true skill system but it has the foundations built in with the races, the racial abilities, to where the D6, the 1 and 6 or 2 and 6, slides in unnoticeable. I like that. Keep the game moving, keep it fun and engaging. I've noticed it tilts towards the players a little more than I like in combat. But, combat that works both ways. That fluidity that players enjoy in combat can really work against you. And then that really depends how bloodthirsty your DM is. So if you're playing your enemy creatures as they are intelligent, you could have some problems. If they are unintelligent, mobs are easier to defeat than organized militaries. So I throw that out there this morning. When in doubt, drop a D6. Keep it simple. Keep it moving. If it is a simple, basic concept and someone has some working knowledge of it as a player, I wouldn't even bother rolling a dice or just roll the stat roll. Usually their stat rolls are almost a guarantee. Rolling equal to or under 13, 15 is fairly easy. I don't know if I would. If I get to be a player in Dragonslayer now, coming up on Thursdays, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm still running one old school Essentials game, and when it runs its course, I will probably only run a Dragonslayer for fantasy. And then I'm thinking about doing an extra West Marches game, or maybe doing some. I don't know. I'm not a one-shot person. I like campaign play. I don't think people are invested in a character or a game session if there's not going to be another one. So they will do things that they normally wouldn't do as a player because there is no tomorrow. So I've been kicking around some more wretched ideas. I got some wretched ideas. I got one I'm percolating for the game jam here in January, and then I want to do more wretched space stuff, but I don't want to use any aliens. I think it's going to be just humans, and if they do discover aliens, it'd be a big major campaign thing. Like, oh, aliens are real? We've not met any in thousand, whatever. So I got horror exploitation top stuff in my head and wretched space. And for modern gaming, I'm going to stick to wretched and red. For fantasy, Dragonslayer all the way. As a player, I'm more flexible. I'd probably play a bunch of different stuff. I'm just 3 games a week is probably enough. I got 2 games I run, 1 game I play, and I think that's enough. And then maybe throw in something when I can't sleep, if there's anybody out there. Problem with that is if you don't have a schedule, you're just shooting into the dark. Yeah. Keep it simple. If you go for a pure skill-based system, the D20 system seems to be what everybody likes. It's linear, though. I would like to see some concepts playing with bell curves. That's why the percentile system works a little bit better, because it at least has a small bell curve. I thought about playing with a 3D6 challenge system, and I did do that when I was running Labyrinth Lord. A multiple D6 versus ability thing. 2D6 for simple task, 3D6 for hard, 4D6 for extremely difficult, and then 5D6 versus your ability stat for damn near impossible. But stuff like that, I was letting people do like backflips and plate mail and jumping over people. Sure, drop 5d6 if you beat your stat. If you equal to your stat or less, then you do it. Or the save versus awesome mechanic. That was a lot of fun. When you crit, I would have people describe anything they wanted to do, but they had to make their unmodified roll versus save the worst saving throw, which became the save versus awesome. And then we had people, but it always ended up being, I want to take extra attacks. I want to attack 2 times. There was no, I'm going to run at my enemy, put my staff forward, and then run along the wall and land behind him. There was rarely anything like that. It was always I want to do triple damage. I want to do max damage. Base mechanic, combat advantage stuff. Nothing fun. Nothing imaginative. I did have one guy who with his priest. He was jumping over people and springing himself over with his staff and attacking from the rear, which I thought was pretty funny. He's like, I run at him and I pole vault over him and then I hit him in the back. I'm like, okay, that's pretty awesome. I give you the +2 to hit from the rear, which negates shield, by the way. Negates shield and dex from the attacks from the rear. So it was kind of like a neat thing. But it didn't get what I wanted out of it for the game, so I stopped using it. With Dragonslayer, I have found that the stuff, my imagination that percolated and exploded when I got back into the game with Labyrinth Lord is happening again. So I really like that. So I'm probably going to pull out my Labyrinth Lord books, glance through them, compare them to the Dragonslayer, and see what was really big jumps. But it's all just AD&D light. Race plus class, and more spells and higher levels, and more combat options. There's no multiple attacks. Notice that outside cleaving, there's no multiple attacks for going up in levels, which I think that is one thing that made the power curve for the fighter in AD&D get real bad. Because once you got a few multiple attacks and haste or speed potions got into the equation, it got ugly fast. I could share some stories about how the giants turned into a joke. A literal joke, with players killing multiple giants in a melee round. But it was fun. We did have a lot of blasts. We did have a blast. So can only poo-poo it so much. But remember, we were having fun. I am looking forward to a return to the giants. I cannot find the expanded giant modules that I had gotten off the Save or Die or Thaco's Hammer podcast website. It is lost in the shuffle on an old hard drive, I guarantee it. It's probably on an old external hard drive in my stuff that I need to go through. There's like 6 of them. It's a lot of information to parse through. So I'm going to try to find that, and if I don't do it, or if if Bill does it, or someone else does the giants, I'm gonna throw those out there because they were so awesome. It turns the giants in from 3 big dungeons to like 8, and they were pretty awesome. They're really good. I should probably hit up some of the Greyhawkers and Dragon's Foot and see if anyone else expanded on the giants. Now, I remember I did a whole thing with ogres back in the day, and I have no idea what that notebook is. It was all handwritten before I used a computer, so that ogre module with all the ogres using lots and lots of copper, they decorated copper, so it was like lots of copper jewelry, so it was valuable, but it was heavy, so it was like, you were just leaving like anywhere from 50 to 150 gold pieces worth of treasure on each ogre, just letting it lay, because I'm not carrying that shit. I recently had a treasure hoard that was looted previously, and the players are going to find what was left over, and they didn't. They turned away from it, so they missed the hoard of 27,000 copper coins, which for first level characters be like, we need to take all that copper, but it becomes a logistical nightmare. They never got that far, so they never discovered the 27,000 copper. I'm just rambling now. Hey, basic skill systems. Make a quick D6 drop. Keep your game flowing. That's my number one advice for anyone running old school games. Rulings over rules. Keep it flowing. Have fun. If you make a ruling, by all means, write it down on an index card so you have some consistency in game. Because if you make a ruling that conflicts with the previous ruling, players will get a little scratchy behind the ears about it. We're fallible, man. We're getting old. Our memories Isn't that great? Anyway, game well, game off, and you guys have a great day.